My mother was director of the Georgia ACLU in the mid-1960s. At that time, the Atlanta police began a crackdown on prostitution. They arrested almost no one for actual sex work. Instead, they put their efforts into less than constitutional harassment. One of the prostitutes, named Rita, came to the ACLU for legal assistance. As part of her defense, my mother helped to organize a publicity campaign with newspaper and TV interviews. In these interviews, Rita always appeared in silhouette. In our home office, my mother had two placards. One read, "Down with whoever is up," and the other said, "Let prostitutes work." This is the story of what happened after Rita came to the ACLU for legal assistance.
How did she come to the ACLU? It was her idea. I mean, this is a person who read the papers every day, front to back, and she realized she could maybe make something good out of this, and she did, because somebody who's in the newspapers and is a prostitute is going to get more customers than somebody who isn't in the newspaper. And she knew a lot of these prostitutes, and they were sort of rooting for her and watching the television and, making a big thing out of it. And she was very pleased, and they kept on asking her questions, and she kept on answering the same way, and it was just pathological lying, because they said to her, "Would this give you an opportunity to get out of the business that you're in?" And she said very fervently, "I certainly hope so." And that got them to ask what she would like to do, and she said she thought she had theatrical gifts. So the guy who was coming to Atlanta on sort of a circular countrywide tour was watching television, and he said, he called me, he said, "We'd like to feature her. It would be really something good." So I said, "Why'd you call me?" He said, "I don't know her address, but I know her telephone number, but I know yours, and I know you know hers, so that's easy." So I did call Rita and tell her, and she was thrilled. Just what she's wanted all her life, and everybody's told her she's a natural actress and blah, 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 blah. So a week later, I called the man who was in charge of that group of actors that was like a little corporation, and he was in charge of everything. He was the boss. So I called him and I said, "I know Rita interviewed you last week. How did you make out?" And he sort of wiped his brow like that, and he said, "She's a nice person and she's not badly educated, but as an actress, she's absolutely hopeless." We gave her 4 different parts to run through. One was a young boy, and one was a housewife, and so on. I forget what the other 2 were. And she played all 4 of them exactly the same. And I said, the man who's in charge of that Atlanta club commented to me that you had some very good moments, but they were all always the same moment, because you've never been trained to think through a part. And if you want to be with us as a non-paid, I forget what they call it, something very common, you know what it means, but I can't think of it. But anyway, he said you could join the company and sit and watch for a couple of weeks, and not have a part, and then we'll drill you in various techniques, and we'll try you out as maybe a practically non-speaking part, but enough to give you a little hint of where you should be on the stage and what you should be wearing and so on and so on. And he told me later that even with a perfectly non-challenging role, she was awkward and she never would be taken for what she was playing.